So Matt's also asked about behind the neck pull downs. That's a controversial one. What do you guys think? Thumbs up or thumbs down for that exercise? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be the same.
I agree. There's every scientific article that I've seen shows that there's no more lat activation if you pull behind the neck. You can't pull as much weight. There's no way to do it comfortably. I'm not a fan.
The only thing I'll say, I won't expand on this at all because we're all in disagreement. The only thing I'll say, which will take about a minute to say, is basically if you force your muscle groups into position, so for example, pinch your shoulder blades back so it's behind you, you'll feel your lower trapezius muscles and rhomboids activate more. You'll feel them more because they're unnaturally pinched together. Those muscles will not activate more. They're being pinched, therefore it gives you the perception that they're working harder. But if you actually measured the muscle activity on them, it would not be any higher than doing, for example, a row, which we know is more of a mainstay movement of working the mid-back. And so it gives you that artificial kind of feeling that it's working your traps, but it doesn't work the same way. You'll see it visually as well. You'll see people doing pull downs on I don't know, Twitter or TikTok, what people use nowadays, and I have a top off and they'll do behind the neck. You'll see all these muscles tweaking in and out and all sort of thing. Looks good, but it's not working the muscles more because it's not the function of the muscle. The muscle is almost like a butterfly. It's like a can opener sort of thing. It's not a I can't even. It doesn't work that way. The muscle fibers don't align that way. So that's one little caveat there as well.
Well, you know what, Jonathan? I think you're right. At the end of the day, if you make any muscle group move differently and pull from a different angle, do it just anything to make it guess, then I can totally see why that would be a great idea. Yeah, okay, low key, I've done them from time to time. It's just not something that I'd really recommend because I don't see as much use for it as the standard pull down and standard rows and that kind of thing.
Yeah, they're touched down as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of doing pull down single arm. If I'm ever doing the lats or the traps or anything like that, I find single arm works best for me. You very, very rarely see me on a lat pull down. Very, very rarely. I find you can get more connection when you're doing like a pull down on the one arm, like say like kind of like a lever. It's kind of like an L shape. You're pulling the elbow down towards the hip. You're leaning into it. You're kind of pushing your wrist down towards your hip, and you're really focused. So in that position, then your lats are already under tension. It's just about now shortening the range. So it's just driving the elbow down, and that one after the first rep, like I mean, I can feel literally all on my right side, like all on fire. The likes of the pull downs, I haven't done a pull down in oh my god, about 2 or 3 years. My favorites would be now, as I said, single arm pull down, or maybe I'll do my pull up, or I just done one there during the week as well, where I'll elevate my feet on a bench and I'll hold on to a Smith machine, and I'm pulling myself up that way as well. But I'd always put that pretty much at the end of my workout.
An inverted row because you're using body weight. Yeah.
And you can add a plate. You can put a plate on your lap if you want. You add a bit more resistance. I find that when I add in like say 2 or 3 exercises, my back's on fire. I just need a finisher at the end, and I'm trying to pick between that and like a pull up. I find that the pull up machine on the Smith machine works absolutely top notch.
Yeah, I like that exercise as well. It's a great finisher if you've got something in the tank and you're able to recover from the extra volume.
Yeah,
definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, Jonathan, I just sent you a message in the private chat. I found an article about pull downs versus rows. I just wanted to throw this out there to wrap up on back training just in general. This study says that when subjects did seated cable rows, muscle activity of the lats was more than 40% greater than when they did wide grip pull downs. Rows appeared to be a better exercise for stimulating more of the lat fibers and therefore helping to build a bigger back. So when it comes to back training in general, my suggestion would be to take a step back and it should be mostly rows and less pull downs. But both of them are great moves.
Yeah. I think if we look at the lats as well, the way they kind of insert around, then they go sort of downwards. So the idea is we don't just do. So what Colt's saying here is don't only do rows. he's saying maybe do 2 row movements and 1 pull down movement or something like that. We find that when we're actually doing a wide grip lat pull down, so the idea was, Steve Reeves said back in the day, the wider you go, the wider your back will be. We know that's not true. The weight we can use
there's some merit to it, but there's definitely sorry, I agree with you on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it'll work the muscles, the intricate muscles below the rear delt. For the life of me, I can't remember. It's quite late here, but the intricate muscles below that. So when you go like that in the rear pose, you got some slight little like curvatures in your back muscles. You got the lats at the bottom. So the lats are what going to build up. I believe it's something like, I want to say about 70% of the muscle in your back is in the lats. You can effectively work your lats low, medium, probably up to about here, maybe near enough 90 degrees until your elbow to your hip. And that work your lats very well. Then as soon as you go up to about 90 degrees or around up there, you work more of your mid back. I think it depends also on where your elbow lands in relation to your back as well. You'll be stronger in some positions compared to others. If you're doing a wide grip row, you can't really see my hands, but if very wide, you'll be weaker because you've got less muscles to actually pull. Whereas if it's close to your body, your muscles work more naturally in that position. So imagine you're out in nature, you're trying to pour a bunch of logs. You're not going to pull it with like arms out here. You're going to be too weak. Nothing's going to move. Get as close as possible to your body and bring it in as far as you can, using the primary movers, which are going to be the lat muscles. Depending if you're bent over or upright, if you're trying to pull down or across. So I think for most pulling movements, it's generally for most it's a medium narrowish sort of grip. So it might be, I wouldn't say here. I'd say somewhere between like here and here for me. About shoulder width. So
good stuff, guys.
Yeah, and I think the same goes for when you're doing like a dumbbell row. A lot of people will always row the dumbbell. It's like in this position right here. It's not like it's not like a lever position, like an L shape like this. Like a lot of people will just grab the weight and they're just rowing. So they're using a lot of traps, an awful lot of rhomboids. They're going more for thickness. When you're trying to really focus on the lats, it's not about like pulling the weight up really, really hard. It's kind of like a motion, like you're pushing the weight out in front of you, and then if anything, you're trying to drive the dumbbell right down to the hip, and you don't need to go too far. So it's just getting a full stretch, and then getting full connection as you come up as well.
Yeah, I'm quite a fan of trying to think of the right terminology for it. Diverging pull downs, I believe they're called, and diverging rows. So
yeah, the ones that pull
I'm not a fan of.
I like those too.
Yes, I'm not a fan of machines which are just straight back and forward or straight up and down. I like something with a slight element of. It works your muscles more, and also because you can actually resist against. You can use the side of your hands, almost like grip it and resist when you're pulling something apart to activate more of the muscles on the outside area of the back as well. So there's little tricks you can use, which you pick up these things as you get more advanced and you learn how to do it. It just takes time.
I think that's a good point as well, actually, because I remember someone telling me that, like when I remember you're doing a row, before you pick the bar up, try and pull the bar as far as you can. So when you grab the bar, imagine you're pulling it out of the fear. If you're that bar, do exactly what Jonathan said, rowing it. It's spread, and that's when you get the connection first, and then you start rowing, and then it's just an incredible feeling.
Yeah, definitely.